Zach and Andrew here, and we are here to share more about the naked truth. And so the naked truth I want to share is that I am someone who used to, and still does sometimes, puts others' happiness before my own. And that's a very codependent pattern I've had my entire life. And especially in my relationship with Zach, I remember feeling many, many times, if Zach is not feeling happy in this moment, then I don't get to feel happy in this moment either, unless I figure out something I can do or say to help Zach become happy.
Yeah, like energy attracts like energy, guys. And although Andrew and I were on different spectrums of the neediness scale of the codependency patterns, his need to provide and care for is exactly what really attracted my need and desire to be cared for, to be taken care of. And so when we met, I loved that Andrew was extra nurturing and supportive and providing and wanted to do all these things for me. It filled what I believed at the time, that was my interpretation of love. And it's so interesting how, as our relationship has evolved and as we've evolved as individuals, and to be honest, I was a little bit more stagnant than you, I believe, in a lot of ways, as you began growing and recognizing that the codependent patterns of caregiving and providing and nurturing, was no longer satisfying for you. It started to make me feel like you didn't love me anymore. And so I had to decide if I was going to fill the void by starting to love and take care of myself and realign energetically. And I'm really glad and grateful that that's what we've been able to do. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I believe our relationship was doomed to fail. And my desire in making videos like this is to help you guys recognize these patterns before you get into relationships that become incredibly difficult. And I would not describe our relationship as ever being toxic, but there were definitely some toxic patterns that we were falling into, where I was definitely taking advantage and creating expectations where things did not feel balanced and one-sided, but that's the way that I wanted it. And as a recovering narcissist with a lot of selfish tendencies energetically that I've overcome, it was what I demanded in a relationship. And as Andrew tried to back away and set boundaries, it was incredibly uncomfortable for me. And I didn't know if this was something I even wanted to continue being a part of. But if I hadn't worked on the shit that I needed to work on, I would continue seeking caregivers, continue following in patterns of giving my power away, my stability away, my security away to someone who I wanted to do all those things for me. And I'm so glad that I've stepped into an energy of trusting myself and feeling confident in myself and my ability to do the things that Andrew used to do for me for myself. And what's that been like for you?
It's been wonderful. It's been freeing. It's been, honestly, as we grow more and more, it's like learning how to live and be in a whole different way. And it's incredibly satisfying.
Yeah. And what do you have to say to anyone watching who might have those same codependent patterns?
So here's the thing. Before Zach, my relationship with Zach, I was in a very toxic relationship. It was emotionally abusive. I stayed in it much longer than was healthy. We've worked with a lot of clients who have stayed in relationships that were incredibly toxic, where they were walking on eggshells, they couldn't be themselves. I was just talking to a man who couldn't schedule a phone call because he couldn't find any privacy away from his husband. And if you're in that kind of situation, first I'm going to say your situation is probably worse than you realize it is, because it doesn't happen all of a sudden. It's gradual, where you compromise your values, you compromise your desires time over time over time. It doesn't start off feeling toxic, but eventually 1 year, 2 year, 3 years in, it's like you don't even realize how much of yourself you've lost. And so I hope this maybe could be a wake-up call. One of our clients, Ted Smith, who's an author now, was in a 15-year relationship that was incredibly toxic and abusive, and he's now written a book about it. I highly recommend reading that book.
Yeah. But it's a matter of, choosing to address and recognize the patterns so that we can break them. And left to our own devices, we're going to fall into the same loops time and time again. And in my experience, there's not a book you can read or a course that you can take that's just going to magically make this all dissolve. But it wasn't until getting deep support and coaching and mentorship
That's true.
for me to break free of these patterns.
That's true. Without hiring coaches, I would not have had the courage, the insights to set the new boundaries and standards that I did, and have had the confidence and wherewithal to stick with it. I agree. Without us hiring coaches, we would not be sitting here naked together on the beach, feeling really happy and being able to reflect on all the successes we've had.
I love you, baby. So proud of you. So proud of us. Bye for now.